In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
This is the No Off Days podcast. I'm Scott Smith. We got Chris Cato in his Sloth on a Bicycle t-shirt. BK is in the booth. Happy to bring you another action-packed NODPOD. Congrats to the Boston Celtics. 18 NBA titles. That is a record, winning it this week. So a lot of titles have been up for grabs. We had the U.S. Open. We'll discuss that. And Bryson DeChambeau, now a two-time winner in majors on the tour. Not on the tour. Already stepped in it. So there you go. But we got a fun show, and you know, I did take a little hiatus, so I want to give a personal thank you to Linda Hurtado, who stepped in.
Wow.
And there have been many people saying Linda needs to be full-time. She needs to be back in that seat. Scott, why are you even in this show? She's so much better. A lot of those coming from the Georgia Bulldog fan page. So
right.
Yeah, but thank you, Linda, for carrying the baton as you twirled it so excellently on this podcast. But you guys enjoyed talking a little college football.
Well,
so.
you know, she and I get along famously with our Alabama-Georgia rivalry.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a great time. We got into things that some areas this podcast has never gone into before.
Okay.
Got into a little fashion. I hope that's okay with you in your absence.
Well,
talk.
In my absence, I'm okay with that.
Talk books. Talked a lot of books.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Those are areas I'm not really too keen on.
Yeah, so we're broader now. This podcast is broader. We have a broader appeal.
Okay.
We talked favorite vacations, ideal vacations. We thought you might, be able to weigh in on that once you did return. Good to have you back, by the way.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, so I feel like we won't belabor the point, but yes, we went to France.
Yes.
And I didn't really know what to expect. I had been there for like a hot second on a layover once, and briefly saw the Eiffel Tower, but to kind of explore, the countryside,
The arrondissements
down the south, it was beautiful. It was stunning. So many great memories. Had a great time. My wife and I, just us two. We left the kids back here. We just locked the door and opened a bag of food, and they made it. They survived. It was
Them
great.
and the raccoons.
Yeah, you know what was really cool though? Because of the time that it was situated, leading up to the Paris Olympics, we did go visit a couple of places where there's going to be featured events.
Right.
So that, I think, for me personally, draws in a little extra allure into the Olympic Games.
Yeah, you can put your eyeballs on the TV and say, "Oh, I was there in my jorts."
Yeah, yes, I was in my fanny pack. Thank you very much. The Place, I think it's called the Place de la Concorde. If someone's going to correct me on that. It's where Marie Antoinette was beheaded. Anyway, that's going to be where they do the skateboarding. They put in some half pipes. So, cool. Boy, have times changed.
Instead of the bag that the head goes in, it's half pipes.
Yes.
Okay.
No guillotine, but there will be some 180s and 360s and whatnot. So that was cool. And then the Palace at Versailles, I believe it was like they were setting up for, I think it was the steeplechase.
That's a place to have it.
Yeah,
there.
they built in like this huge grandstands, and so it'll be cool to see it featured. And obviously they're gonna. It's right in the heart of like this Paris, and there's many events that you'll see. But
should look very scenic for the cameras, right?
It'll be great. So
can I ask a question? I know you don't want to belabor the vacation
sure.
thing. You're like, where is this going? So I've never been to Paris. I've never visited.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know that that's at my top of the list of European cities to visit.
It should be. Yeah.
It should be? Okay.
I think
good.
so. I kind of felt the same way, and I think a lot of it was because people kind of speak negatively about, I don't know, customer service,
Sure.
how they treat you. It was fabulous.
You loved it. Okay.
I never had any issue, and my French is awful. I don't know anything. My only phrase that I used regularly was "Je suis désolé," which is "I'm sorry," because there's just so many words I don't know. But everybody spoke English there, so it really helped me out. But now Paris, such a cool city, and there's just, once you get out of like the heart of the touristy area, there's just just cool streets and old buildings and so much history there. And if you love baked goods as I do, there is a good boulangerie on every corner, so you get some fresh bread and some croissant. But yeah, it was a good time.
Okay, all right.
I would highly recommend
it.
So
I know you're not always happy with things, so if it gets your recommendation, then I'll take it.
Let me just say one more thing about the cuisine. I did order something called, I believe it was called angulette. It's like a sausage.
What is it like?
And, hey, look, I love sausage, right? Like I'll give me any type of pork product and I'm good. But this thing, and he kind of, when I ordered it, the guy gave me a look like, hey, maybe you don't go down that road.
Oh, that's not a good sign.
And but I was feeling frisky, so I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm in France only once. And look up a picture of this thing.
Okay,
so it came out. The plate looked great. It was like it looked like a bratwurst, and then it was covered in like some mustard. And you cut into this thing, and there's no meat on the inside. It is only pig intestines. It is only pig intestines on the inside, and like once you get past the texture, it was like the smell, the taste, all of it was awful.
So it's whatever the pig had in its.
I did 2 bites, and I was like, I'm tapping out.
Oh, yeah, here it is, a coarse-grained French sausage made from pork intestine, also known as chitterlings. Wow.
Yeah, so there you go.
I think those are consumed in the South. We called them chitlins back in the day.
Yeah, well. But don't they fry those?
Those are fried.
Okay.
So if you had fried this, would that have saved it?
Yeah, maybe. I would do that. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, so when you book your Paris trip, lay off
the stinky sausage.
Lay off stomach, pig intestines.
Got it. All right.
Speaking of pig intestines, let's bring in BK.
Oh, no. This is how he welcomes himself back from vacation.
It's just, there's no other, there's no sequitur there. What is the most daring meal that you've ever had?
Ooh, man. Escargot, I guess.
Okay. There was a lot of that going around. I've had it before, and I didn't do it because all it is like, it's obviously snails.
Right.
But they just cover it in like butter and garlic, right?
So you can get by it.
You could put a shoelace in butter and garlic.
Is there enough butter to get past these that sausage you ate?
No, bro.
Yeah,
no, not enough.
No, it was
all the butter in Wisconsin.
So, what about you, Chris? What's
the
most daring meal? This guy can't even eat onions, right?
No, onions are disgusting. I'm pretty picky. I've eaten some gross fried things before. I think we've discussed it on this podcast, episode 22. Ate some rattlesnake once. Yeah. It was really chewy. I've eaten some soft-shell turtle.
Soft-shell turtle?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
It was all fried in the same stuff, though, so you couldn't really tell.
Like baby turtles?
I don't want to say it was baby. I didn't say it was a baby turtle. I said it was a soft shell.
Is there such thing as like an actual soft shell turtle, like in the wild?
Yeah, those are the ones that don't.
The hard shell made them.
But the ones that don't make it have soft shells. That's why we eat them.
Those are called lizards.
That's called a frog, Chris. Yeah, eating frog legs, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I did find a good Mexican joint there, and it was pretty good. So
in Paris.
Yeah, for sure. BK, what do we have on today's program?
Oh, it's good to have you back, Scott. Let's take a look back at the U.S. Open. I have to say, guys, I felt weird not having any wager, no bets, anything on the.
I know.
I hate that. We cannot let that happen again.
Be honest, you still had a wager, even without me and Scott.
JT, in his plus 17 or whatever it was. No.
We know Scott would have taken Tiger.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think I told you via text I would draft Rory and watch him melt down on Sunday.
Oh, that was just brutal to watch.
But that was, I think, his worst meltdown.
Do you think? I don't know. The Masters, right?
Well, when he hit it up into someone's yard, that was pretty bad.
Was that wasn't his most epic meltdown? Wasn't that the Masters, BK?
I guess so. This is pretty bad.
Yeah, he hit it into someone's back porch. But
either way,
I think this one was worse though because he played so well on Sunday and then he bogeyed 3 of them.
Well, and he made a charge and the door was open for him.
Yeah.
And he just missed those. Obviously, those. Have you seen the memes that have been circulating of like him lining up those same putts, except the hole is like enormous. It's like a sewer hole, and it still lips out.
It still lips out.
The internet always winning. Okay, so talk a little U.S. Open.
Yeah. Then at the end of the show, how about the NODPOD Gazette? You wanted another, throw out some headlines. You tell me if they're real or fake.
Yeah.
Are these in French? He's going to have an advantage.
Yeah. There's no French headlines in this one, I don't believe.
Well, I do believe I saw a stand in Paris for the NODPOD Gazette.
Did you really?
So, yeah, it's circulating worldwide.
The international edition,
Le
okay.
Gazette.
Le Crap Gazette. All right. Okay, BK, we'll catch up with you shortly.
Thanks, man.
If you're listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/NODPOD. If you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe, take out your phone. You can zap that QR code on the screen in the bottom right-hand corner, and there you can find all of our shows. We are slowly but surely approaching 100.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
If you'll stop taking time off, I think we'll get there.
Yeah, well, Linda could take us across the finish line. She's a good anchor. She could be the anchor leg on our race here. Go to fox13news.com/nodpod. So we should have probably led with the big news that came down this week, and that is
the Stallions.
Yeah.
Our Stallions won the UFL championship.
Victory parade. They need to take that victory parade down Channel Side. I mean, with all the fans that we've made here.
We are they are our adopted UFL
affiliate
team.
station.
Yeah,
for them.
Bring them back.
Well, congrats to Skip and the gang.
Yeah.
The big boxing, I don't know, influencer, Jake Paul.
It was going to be Tyson and Paul.
Well, it was going to be Tyson and Paul, but apparently Mike Tyson's kind of old, so he's getting like old man issues. So the ulcer flared up.
Yeah.
I mean, such a typical thing.
My back.
Yeah, I
My
got
back's
a bad back. Yeah. I got a case of the gout flaring up. He won't be able to, no. So Tyson has postponed his fight with Jake Paul. That's still going to happen in November.
They say.
But because Paul has been training and, he's going to capitalize on it, he's coming to Tampa in July 20th, and he is going to be fighting, let me see. This will be an 8-round cruiserweight bout against mixed martial artist with the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, Mike Platinum Perry at Amalie Arena. Are you ready for this? July 20th. So he's coming to our own backyard. We got to get him on the show. We got to get Jake Paul on this show to promote this event. I have a feeling we're going to make that happen at some point. But,
okay. That'll be fun.
But do you like this? I mean, he's going to bring some sizzle to our own backyard.
I like it. I think, and he says he's still going to do the Tyson fight. I think he's just, like you said, wanted to capitalize on all this training he's going to be doing, and might as well make some more pay-per-view money, too.
I think so.
And I like the selection of the opponent, too. I think.
Have you done some research?
Well, yeah. Matter of fact, I have. But this guy, Mike Perry, Platinum Mike Perry, is a bare knuckles fighter. He's the bare knuckles champion currently.
But when he's fighting Paul, they're wearing gloves, right?
10-ounce gloves.
Okay.
As opposed to when he and Tyson fight, they're going to wear 14. Did you see these things?
Yeah,
14
they were body
ounce gloves.
pillows, I think. Yeah.
They're wearing pillows
Yeah.
on their hands. But no, these are going to be your usual 10-ounce gloves. So no bare knuckles for Mike Perry here. But he's currently the champion in the bare knuckles division. He's 5-0. He's got 3 knockouts. He's beaten some former UFC fighters in these bare knuckles fights. So I'm not saying I still think Jake Paul has a better reach, better boxing form, all of that. But I think it'll be a good opponent for Paul to keep his skills sharp against.
There's no way he loses this, right?
I don't know. I watched one of these Mike Perry fights a moment ago before the show started. The last one he had against Eddie Alvarez, and the guy is he's got a face on him, Scott. That's his best weapon. He keeps
that only a mother could punch.
He's got a face. That's his best defense. He keeps ramming his face into his opponent's fist until the opponent eventually just wears out.
I believe we call that a good jaw in the fighting. But you're saying he takes it straight.
His nose, everything. Like he took 4 straight left jabs from this Alvarez guy and just kept coming at him. He was like one of those villains in a horror movie that won't die. So yeah, he's tough, and maybe he'll give Paul a good fight, but I think it's one that Paul will still win.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly intriguing simply just because it's right here and it's at Amalie Arena. So yeah, 5-0, 3 knockouts, as you mentioned. His nickname is Platinum?
Platinum, yeah. So wait
a minute. So he had Iron Mike, Platinum Perry. Is Jake Paul just kind of working his way through the periodic table?
Yes. Next, it's Tungsten Pete.
Right. Yeah.
He's got the softest jaw.
Mike
in the bunch.
Plutonium Perez is the next one. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I will say that that Paul has faced these former UFC fights. So Perry was a UFC guy and was 7-8 in UFC, so not the best record. And Paul has boxed against 3 former UFC champions and is 3-0. Beat Tyrone Woodley twice, beat Anderson Silva. So these UFC guys, former UFC guys, haven't done so well against Paul. But we'll see.
There will be an undercard with a local, Stevie, in the women's fight.
Okay.
So her name is Stevie Wonder. No, Stevie Morgan.
Stevie Morgan
from Tampa. So got a little local flavor there.
Is she undefeated or no?
I don't know anything about her other than she's from Tampa.
I can tell you this: she's 14-1 with 13 knockouts.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty good, and that's the most knockouts currently at the.
Is she a bare knuckle brawler too?
35. She's born and raised in Tampa. Has mostly fought in Colombia though, and this will be her toughest fight against Amanda Serrano, who is kind of, I think, the biggest name on that side, on the women's boxing side. So it should be a good card. It's not on Netflix like the Tyson Paul fight's going to be, but maybe we'll get a chance to see it.
Yeah, well, I hope both fights go through. I mean, I think that, Jake Paul's one of those guys that's going to draw attention no matter what. So even if it's against a guy named Matt Perry. Is it Matthew Perry?
He was on Friends.
No. Okay. Yeah,
Mike Perry.
Mike
Platinum
Perry.
Mike.
I mean, but Jake Paul, he will draw in and of himself. And good for us that we get,
Jake Paul,
get another major event here in Tampa.
I know. We keep rolling it in. That'll be fun.
All right, so we quickly transition to football because, Chris, I know that I know you've seen this. Big 12, the Big 12 Conference is now they're going to become a corporate-sponsored conference. They're pitching this idea where they'll have corporate money coming in, and then they change the name of the conference, which I don't know if you recall, but I certainly do because I keep receipts. This was a suggestion that I made maybe about a year ago on this very podcast.
You know who made it.
I said, made it. If you want to save these conferences, you got to start bringing in some of these. And, it was like, the Amazon, like Prime.
Wait a minute. Now, you probably did say this. You say a lot of stuff.
I did. You don't remember?
I'm not saying you didn't, but Chip Kelly also said that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you inspired Chip Kelly. I don't know.
I think he's a big listener.
But yeah, the point being, Big 12's got to make up this revenue gap, right?
Yeah.
They see the Big 10 and the SEC raking in all this money through these new TV contracts. So what do? You go out and you sell the naming rights to your conference.
So they're looking, All-State, I guess, has kind of the inside track. So maybe it's the All-State 12 or however many teams are. How many teams are in the Big 12 now?
Currently 18.
Okay. All right.
No, currently 16.
It would actually be the most appropriate because you're getting teams basically from all states. That's. Yeah. If you're ACC, you're pulling teams from the West Coast. Yeah, All-State makes a lot of sense. I just wonder if this was something that they went to earlier, if this model that was something that they went to earlier, if it would have saved the integrity of these conferences, if you would have been able to keep, a conference like the Pac-12.
Could you kept Texas and Oklahoma from leaving? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're able to generate revenue from someplace else other than having it solely be based on TV deals, essentially, then maybe you could have saved it. And to me, I'm okay with this. I mean, you're giving up very little. There's a little bit of tradition in the name of these conferences, but I mean, we are way past that as a sports watching society, right? I mean, NASCAR, everything has a sponsor. You
Absolutely.
get so. I think that's something that we're fine with. I mean, we already have the All-State Sugar Bowl. We have the Rose Bowl provided
sponsored
by Prudential. It's like everything has a if you do that to the conferences, I don't think anybody's going to have a big issue with it. And if it could have kept, the conferences maybe together, if that's another way of revenue, but
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with it. I've heard people, kind of make fun of the name, the All-State, blah, blah, All-State 12, whatever you want to call it. But let's face it, these names are meaningless anyway. The Big 12 has 16 teams now. The Big 10 has 18. The Atlantic Coast Conference has 2 schools that are on the Pacific Coast and 1 in Texas.
Right.
I mean, these names are pointless. So why? And plus, you don't have, the numbers don't match up or make sense anymore. So,
it could just become ridiculous, though, just like the bowl games. When we're talking about the Tony the Tiger Bowl, like
the Snoop Dogg Bowl.
Yeah, if you have like a Bad Boy Mowers Conference, like I mean, really, like, are we gonna?
But I think to have the money to put your name on a naming rights for a conference, it will be like what either you or Chip Kelly or both of you said. It would be something like, I think Kelly's suggestion was separate major college football from the lower tier college football. You'll have like 4 super conferences, and you'll have like the Amazon conference, the Nike conference, the whatever it might be.
How long do those last, though? You know what I mean? Like, if this is like naming rights that is like a stadium where we get used to it for a decade, then that's one thing. If it's something that is like up for negotiation every year, that could become,
Yeah.
Like, who's keeping up with this?
Would adjust to that too, though.
Yeah, we'll just call it the old Big 12.
Yeah,
the old Big 10, the old SEC. Speaking of, if you could kind of, have what the ideal corporate sponsor for any conference, I'm sure you have some thoughts.
Like if this becomes the thing to do.
Yeah, if like every conference is like, we need to get a big corporate name.
It needs to fit the conference. I would think,
sure.
SEC, you probably want to be the Waffle House Conference.
That would make sense.
I think that's a staple of Southern dining in your footprint, the Southeastern
Your
Conference.
divisions could be like scattered and smothered.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's good.
What about the Piggly Wiggly Conference?
Oh, I'd go for that one too.
Yeah.
Your divisions are produce and dairy.
Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's.
Would Buc-ee's get behind
Buc-ee's would be good. That could be Big 12 since it's no, Texas is in the SEC, so that could be.
It's your one-stop shop for college football
and beef jerky and everything else.
Good night.
And to do your Christmas shopping.
It's you could probably at some point, build a stadium inside of a Buc-ee's. Yeah. And then you have like everything. You never have to leave. Gas, food.
The Buc-ee's Bowl.
Yeah, seasoned nuts and football.
What about the Big Ten? I mean, they need a sponsor. They don't have 10 teams. The Big Ten has 18 teams now.
Yeah, I'm sure you got something better. But I think Big Ten, I think Midwest, like what do? They export produce and canned goods. So I'm going like the Green Giant Conference.
Okay.
Or maybe General Mills.
I think Michigan
something like
State
that.
fans would like the Green Giant Conference.
Okay, that would work.
I think since it's not just Midwest anymore, since it now spans coast to coast.
That is true. Yeah.
You go with a brand like that covers the entire country, based in Chicago, though, like the Big Ten headquarters, and you go United Airlines.
Okay.
Especially since these schools are going to be racking up their frequent flyer miles, flying from Eugene to College Park or from New Jersey to L.A. So I think United Airlines Conference.
Yeah, and just as easily it could be U-Haul with as much moving as going on.
That's a good one. Yeah.
All right, ACC.
Oh, yeah, I think this one's obvious. I think Boeing, because this conference is about to fall apart. It's the next one to follow. And Boeing's headquarters are in Virginia, so I think it's the Boeing conference.
There we go. I was going to go with Morgan & Morgan because of the lawsuits that we currently have. Need somebody that's going to fight for you,
That's a good one, too.
Or any of them. Catania. We got it all. Let me just go through a log of everybody that sponsors the newscast.
That's a good one.
All right, Big 12. Big 12. I mean, it's still, that's Texas, Oklahoma for the most part, right? So
yeah.
What do we got?
I can't think of one for them. I thought Allstate was fine for them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
What do they have there?
Gas companies, right?
Oil?
Exxon, so okay. Phillips 66, something like that. And I don't know if we can do anything to save the Pac-2, but
the Pac-12 is still technically a thing.
Is it?
Legally, it's an entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have the Pac-2 sponsored by Hanes.
Yeah.
Because they specialize in clothing items that come in pairs. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, that's better than mine.
All right.
I had sponsored by Twix because they're only 2.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Or Blockbuster because they're going out of business and people. Is there any Blockbusters left?
I think there's the one. There's one in Oregon, I believe.
Okay.
It's still hanging in there.
Yeah. VHS.
Waiting for you to.
Do you get fined if you don't rewind
your? Be kind. Please rewind.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
The good old days. All right. Coming up next on the No Off Days podcast, we'll dive into the U.S. Open. DeChambeau. Good guy, bad guy. What to make of the latest major champion in the world of golf. Stick around. The NODPOD continues right after this. Welcome back to the NODPOD. Put your phone away, Chris, because we're going to talk some golf. Did you get a chance on Sunday of this last week to sit down and watch the final closing minutes of the U.S. Open?
I did, and I called my dad. It was Father's Day. You may remember you're a father.
I do, yeah. That is true.
Hopefully you called your dad, too. It didn't ignore him.
I shot him a text.
Come on.
I'm a horrible son.
Oh.
I got 2 crazy kids. What do you want from me?
What'd your kids get for you? Did they honor you like you deserved? Did they?
Yeah, they gave me some pictures in frames. They gave me.
Oh, that's thoughtful.
They said nice things about me. I don't desire any gifts.
Yeah. I got to say, Father's Day is bottom 3 for me of the made-up holidays. We've covered this before, episode 27.
Oh, yeah?
All of them. I don't need it. I appreciate it, but I don't. Anyway, I talk to my dad every Sunday. Anyway, call Dad during because he loves these. He gets more into these majors than we do. I think I might invite him sometime.
Why don't we have him on?
Participate in our pool.
Yeah. That is for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, book it. The Open is coming up in July.
Bubba Cato will have
coming on.
Couple of picks. Anyway, called him while we're kind of watching that together. We were both cheering for Rory, even though I told Dad, I said, it feels a little dirty to cheer for the Irishman during the U.S. Open.
Right.
But still, I just felt like a 10-year drought for Rory. We wanted to see it end. We felt like he had done a lot for the PGA during this whole live mess that went on. He kind of stuck his face out there, and then the PGA didn't really get his back on some of that. So we wanted Rory to win, but also he and I agreed as we watched DeChambeau, golly, that 55-foot bunker shot he made. Like, we agreed that he had turned us into fans of his in the past, I guess 6 months or something happened with this guy where he's very likable. Remember, he used to be a villain, and he wore the Payne Stewart outfit, and he was just kind of always. I don't like that he plays slow. Let me say that the way he drags it out, but that's him. He's analytical, so I never liked that part of it. But now, like, there's this part of him that you want to cheer for. I like the emotion that he shows, and I don't know if he went to image makeover school or something, but I like this version of Bryson.
Yeah, ironic that you would have a problem with someone that drags something out. I mean, I just
I am wearing a shirt with a sloth on it right now.
Well, look. Yeah. I still love this country, and so I was rooting for Bryson DeChambeau to win it down the stretch.
Now, wait a minute. What does that mean?
Well, because he's an American, and I want an American to win the U.S. Open. That's what I want.
Oh, but he's taking Saudi money. You don't have a problem with that.
Well, look, I cannot get mired into this. We've discussed this over and over again.
So did you like Bryson
before? The PGA is taking Saudi money. What are you talking about?
Did you like Bryson 2 years ago?
I didn't have a problem with it. Look, I think what golf needs is people that people can engage with, even if it's negatively, positively. Look, everybody's had an opinion on Tiger Woods over the years, okay? And at the end of the day, people love to watch him. They're either going to root against him, or most of the time they're going to be rooting for him. That's what the sport needs. So just from simple viewing, I don't know anything about Bryson as a person, like how genuine it was. I'm not going to get caught up in that. Like, to me, it was good for the game. It was good for golf. When we have American golfers that are playing at a level that he's playing at right now, I mean, he tied for 6th at the Masters. He finished 2nd at the PGA Championship, and he won the U.S. Open. So this is great for U.S. branding in golf. I think, what I saw out there on the course, I mean, it seemed somewhat genuine. I don't know. I mean, sure, he's playing it up a little bit for the cameras, but I thought he engaged the crowd. It was just fun to watch. And I don't have a problem with Rory. I mean, it's not about, like, that I won't root for an international golfer.
You don't like Irishmen. Okay, noted.
No, I just, like, to me, it was fun to see him get it done. And, yeah, I think the Payne Stewart element of it, I think, he grew up a big fan of Payne. He wore the Payne Stewart cap, for the early part of his career. And so it was, in some senses, it was poetic. To finish, I think, the way he did with an iconic shot like that makes it even better. Like, if he goes there and then he lips out and then we go to a playoff and he ends up losing it, like something like that, like, yeah. I mean, Rory obviously opened the door for him, right? That's part of the story, is that he bogeyed 3 of his last 4 holes. He had it. He had the inside track to win this thing. After DeChambeau's tee shot there on 18 goes,
over into
yeah, that was one of the shots that took 27 minutes for him to end up hitting.
Against a root. He's got his club in a tree.
I think it's good for golf. I don't get caught up in the live stuff. And why should I? Because obviously the PGA is making amends in there. So why am I going to be a holdout and,
right.
Everybody has an opinion on Bryson. There's people that have heralded him. Oh, he's the new hero in the PGA. He's going to save it. He's going to be the next big iconic figure. And maybe that's the case. I'm not totally there yet. But I also don't think he should be vilified, which some people have taken the opportunity to do. I like it. I think he made it exciting, and I hope he's a good dude. He's gone through a lot off the course. His dad died a couple of years ago. Yeah. He said that completely changed him. He feels like a totally different person. He has a new caddy on the bag, Greg Bodine, that is kind of like the yin to his yang, just totally chill, relaxed, like not A-type personality like he is, and that is a relationship that I think has certainly helped him out there on the course. And so I hope it's good. I hope it's good for golf. I'm not going to make any judgment about who he is as a person because I don't know it. I don't know who he is. But when I see the Olympic team comes out and Bryson's not on it, I know that he felt like he was kind of slided a little bit. And I got to kind of question what the algorithm is that allows them to pick the guys that they ended up picking. Now, nobody has an issue with Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele. Then you kind of get into some muddled water. You got Wyndham Clark on there, and then you got Colin Morikawa. Both these guys are excellent golfers, but they're basing it on the world golf rankings. Yeah. And so if you're a live golfer, you're not getting the rankings for, you don't
get any world golf ranking points for live events.
But when we look at Olympic events, whether it's when it's, I don't know, swimming or track or any of these, like these players, they have to be the best. They have to qualify. So there's a metric, a certain metric in order to make it to the Olympics. But it's not the case for team sports. It's not the case in basketball. Like we assemble dream teams. We assemble guys that are and gals that are going to bring in and draw viewers that the U.S. As a country can root for. And I just think that Bryson certainly hit that, with how he's played in majors, particularly this year. I think it warranted him being on that roster.
You think there should be some consideration? I'll call it the marketing aspect of it. Like this guy right now,
100%.
He's a big name. He's hot. He's clearly one of the best in the world.
Right.
As you mentioned, maybe he's a little polarizing too. But either way, he moves the needle. He's someone who's interesting. Where Scotty Scheffler, great golfer, but he's kind of like paint drying, right? So,
but he's got to be on there.
Well, he's got to be on there. But still, I think you need some personalities. And just like you mentioned, the Dream Team, do you remember the first Dream Team had Christian Laettner on it? Because they wanted someone to rep. He had just finished at Duke. He had just come out of college. He did not have the NBA stats to
or any
kind of
Caitlin Clark on the current women's side of things.
I do think there's something to be said for that, where you want, if you're going to say this is Team USA, you want to represent the sport that is the way it looks currently in your country and some of the faces that are captivating the audience, and not necessarily a measurement of rankings.
Yeah.
As much.
So would you have put Bryson on that Olympic roster?
Yeah, I would have. I would have wanted a good cross-section of who are the top golfers right now that are Americans. And that he's one of them.
Yeah. And to me, I think it all had to do with the live. And it wasn't really so much about the world golf rankings. It was really about the fact that they didn't want to reward that. And
But I will say that he said when he was talking on one of these so many interviews he's done that he understood this was one of the consequences of going to live. So he wasn't. Yes, was he disappointed? But was he blindsided by this? No. And I think he was aware that this would happen when he did that.
Yeah. He probably didn't anticipate playing so well in majors this year.
Darn, I got really good.
No, I get it. How much is that money that you're giving me? Yes. No, it's fine. Olympics, Schmalympics. But anyway, I think the question moving forward is what is the future for Bryson? Is he a guy that can carry that mantle? And the measuring stick is always going to be Tiger. Totally not fair. So we're not going to say is he going to reach those levels, but to have an iconic golfer in the sport, someone that is going to generate viewership not on the majors, but on a casual Sunday, someone's going to come watch the final round of, name the PGA Tour stop or whatever.
Something that's not a major necessarily, right?
But what is who's going to do that? Who's that next guy? Scotty Scheffler has, certainly with the run that he's started out here in 2024, he became must-see TV. He's kind of fallen a little bit back down to earth, but...
See, I don't think he's must-see TV, but I can see where you
he was for a while he was winning everything, and he was... Yeah. Nobody has, since Tiger, nobody has become that strong of an odds-on favorite each and every week.
No, I agree, but still not fun to watch. I guess that's what I'm saying. It's just so...
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Fun to watch is relative in
until
golf.
He got arrested. He was not interesting. Now he's a little interesting.
Now he's a bad boy.
Yeah.
That's Scotty Scheffler. That mugshot comes out, man.
Your point being, is Bryson the guy that people are going to turn on the TV for?
Right.
And I think he could be.
Could he become that guy?
I think he could be. The way he plays, he attacks. He's kind of like a madman out there. He's always trying to pound it as far as he absolutely can. He gets himself into some jams and then makes these great save shots to dig himself out. And he's got a big personality. I think he could be.
And I think it's the game has to be there, but he's just peculiar enough.
Yeah.
There's just enough intrigue. There's just enough of the viewing audience that does not like this guy and feels strongly about it that he becomes this kind of larger than the sport figure.
You know what we call that? The Aaron Rodgers factor.
Oh, I thought you were going to say je ne sais quoi.
I didn't just go to France.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's.
But no, it's Aaron.
No, you're right about that.
Right?
A little bit, but Aaron. Yeah, that's. It's a little bit of a slight. Aaron Rodgers, legitimately one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, and that has nothing to do with his off the field stuff. So he was already that guy. But yes, he's become something bigger than the sport now since taking ayahuasca and whatever crazy stuff that he does off the field. I mean, yeah, that
and just going to New York. Yeah,
right.
But sorry, I sidetracked you there. But yes, your point. Being,
I just think that I'm hopeful, and that's what I want for the sport of golf. The sport needs that. It needs somebody that is going to be able to push gear, that's going to bring in eyeballs, that's going to make the sport something that is not just viewing for 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Where you're dialing in for the majors and that's it. No, I mean, this sport needs somebody that can push it, and I'm hopeful that Bryson could become that guy. Still early, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's encouraging to see what he's done this year. It's impressive stuff.
I agree.
All right, coming up on the other side, speaking of a guy that carries his sport, Joey Chestnut. One of our favorite topics here on the No Off Days podcast is competitive eating, the latest hubbub swirling around the Chestnut camp. We will dive into it on the other side. It's the time of the No Off Days podcast where my tummy starts to grumble and I get hungry, Chris. So let's talk some food. Joey Chestnut, Jaws, as he's known, the greatest competitive eater to ever grace this planet, not competing in the main event this summer in the 4th of July event at Coney Island in New York. This is a real shame. This is the grand stage. This is the granddaddy of them all. This is the Daytona 500.
This is their masters.
This is absolutely. And he's not going to be competing. Why? Because of course, dirty corporate money has to get involved in all of this and ruin the fun for everybody. Yes. So apparently, Major League Eating, the entity that kind of runs this whole thing, they obviously have a deal with Nathan's Hot Dogs.
Well, it is called the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But, So anyway, Joey, apparently he's got a deal personally with, what is it, Impossible Foods?
Yes, although he's not admitted he has a deal with them yet,
okay.
but yes.
So he allegedly has a deal with Impossible Foods. It's impossible to know, really.
Plant-based.
It's a plant-based hot dog, which can you think of anything less appetizing? Unless Impossible Foods wants to sponsor the No Off Days podcast, and then we will have a feature, a plate of it each and every week here.
Better than that sausage you had in France.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway, so he is now not allowed to compete in the big 4th of July event in New York, and he's instead doing the next best thing, which is probably better than the thing that he's leaving, and that is a Netflix special because, of course, why not?
Yeah, and they're into live sports now. So.
Yeah, so we have a live Netflix special, September 2nd scheduled. It is Chestnut versus Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Unfinished Beef.
There we go.
That's what it's called. Great title, by the way. I know
great rivalry.
Netflix had to be sitting on this idea for years, by the way.
What a great rivalry. Yeah. This is going to be, Kobayashi had supposedly retired. He was in this other Netflix documentary a few months ago and said, because apparently eating 40,000 pounds of meat and sushi over your 46 years of life isn't good for your bowels.
Oh, it does the damage, huh?
He had stepped away, but when he saw this opportunity, he said, "I'm not retiring until I take down Chestnut."
Yeah. Do you know what the payday is on this?
I haven't seen any. No.
It's got to be pretty good.
It's got to be good.
It might rival Tom Brady's roast. Yeah. Speaking of roasts, so this competition is going to be going down in September. These two have not competed since 2009, and who cares now about the 4th of July event? To be perfectly honest, if we don't get a chance to see a world record broken, then I'm not sure why we would tune in for it, other than to watch people, hot dog shrapnel be flying all over your TV screen. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, how much has the time away for Kobayashi removed him from his once prominent place in the sport?
I think this is going to be a beatdown. I know we've got a couple months to analyze it, but I think this could have gone like the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, where this is an early knockout here. I see the business side of this, but I just want to say that it's a shame that this is the preeminent hot dog eating contest probably in the world. No one else would do this, and the guy who's the GOAT at it isn't in it.
Well, I mean, in the golf world, even the live guys get to play in the majors. So I mean, I just feel like they should get a pass. Look, I can't imagine how much money are these guys in this sport actually making. Okay, like it's probably not on par with any professional sport, right? I can't imagine. So you have like one or two guys that become household names unbelievably.
I think you pointed this out a few podcast episodes ago, didn't you? Yeah, like name. Was it Jeffrey Esper? You said, "Can you name who this is?" Like, can you name all of his accomplishments?
The most painful second place.
Yeah.
Now this opens the door. The door for Esper. He's going to become the guy.
We're going to know his name. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like, you don't. I feel like Chestnut is your brand. And you're going to sit here and hold him out, push him away because of this deal with Nathan's. Look, Nathan's is still getting all the love. In fact, they would get even more because more eyeballs are going to be watching it when Chestnut's involved. Like, so I don't get the conflict. Like, why does it have to be, this guy exclusively only, unless he was saying during the competition, I'm going to be wearing an Impossible Foods t-shirt, and I'm going to only be eating Impossible Foods hot dogs.
Yeah, and he's saying it wasn't going to be that way. He was saying this deal with Impossible isn't even in place yet. So I don't know. I think that these guys, we talk about like college sports and the revenue that's being injected into it and how players are able to capitalize on that. And for so many years, they would draw in eyeballs, they would make other people rich, but the players themselves wouldn't be able to capitalize on it. Well, I mean, the same can be said for competitive eating, right? Like if you have a guy that makes a name for himself by scarfing down 473 hot dogs in 6 seconds, and he can sell that, like, let him do that. Like, what's the problem with that? So I don't know what the power structure is at MLE, but I'd like to have a few words with the people that are running that. Yes.
Like, you need Joey Chestnut. He's good. He's obvious. He is your sport. He is your sport. Nobody knows anybody else. I mean, with all due respect to, who is it? Esper?
Jeffrey Esper? Yeah.
Jeffrey Esper. I mean, I've followed his work for a couple years now.
Yeah.
But most people don't. And I just think that, like, they should be able to capitalize on whatever type of marketing they can to, enrich themselves. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's good for the sport. Brings in eyeballs.
Yeah.
People want to see what Chestnut's going to gnaw on.
The people who can watch that. It hurts my eyeballs to watch it. I think it's one of the most disgusting things ever. Yeah. But it's going to be a different 4th of July, buddy.
Yeah, but it's going to open up the door, and this is what sports is all about. There's always a passing of the hot dog bun. There's a who is going to take that next mantle? Who's going to be the next gladiator?
You want to know what Vegas says? Vegas has a James Webb as the front runner right now. He was third last year with 47 dogs.
But they like his trajectory.
They like his wiener. His wiener trajectory is pointed in the right direction. He had 47 dogs last year to Chestnut 62. This guy was 15 behind Chestnut last year.
Not even close.
Can I leave this block with one final quote from Chestnut?
No, you've already left us with a quote that probably needs to be scratched from the record.
Well, this one will too. This is what Chestnut said, though, when he put out this statement. He ended with this. Meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive to just one wiener. Let's remember that on the 4th of July.
On that note, it's been nice having you tune into the No Off Days podcast. This will be our final episode. Okay, very good. Yeah, I'm on Team Chestnut, and I can't wait. I will have a watch party at my house. Netflix live special, Kobayashi versus Chestnut. If you want to come over to the house, you are more than welcome.
Let's stream the pod live from there. We'll do the pod live from there.
Yeah, again, we're talking about guests that we need to get on the show. I feel like we cannot go away, despite your best efforts of getting us canceled, until we get Joey Chestnut on the show.
No one loves competitive eating more than you.
We're such big fans. All right, very good. Hey, coming up on the NODPOD, it's time for another episode of the NODPOD Gazette. We go through the headlines, which is real, which is fake. We're going to dissect it. We'll bring BK in on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Chris, as mentioned off the top of the show, when I was in France, I did notice that the NODPOD Gazette was on the newsstands there in Paris. Yeah, it was.
The NODPOD Gazette.
Yeah, it certainly was. So it brings me much joy to bring BK back in, and let's dig through some of these headlines on the NODPOD Gazette. Are they real? Are they fake?
We're quite proud of our international
it's our only following.
Subscriptions, right? Yeah. Okay.
Hey, your microphone's on your head. How can we hear you? Oh, you're wearing two.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
He's got all kind of microphones taped to him.
Air traffic control, Brian.
Okay, I'll give you some headlines. You tell me if they're real or fake. Okay,
right. You
ready?
The first two are always fake, and the third is real.
Okay. In fashion theft, a man has been arrested for stealing a cabin attendant's apron from a plane in Japan. Kazuyo Saito admitted to the theft with police, quoting him saying, collecting women's uniforms is my hobby. I smelled it and wore it myself.
Okay, this guy is sick. He needs to be arrested. I mean, it's obviously a real headline because you struggled with that name.
I struggle with every name.
Yeah, that's true, but not names you make up. Yeah, what is his name? Kobayashi? Kobayashi.
Kazuya Saito.
Okay.
Yeah. KZU.
So this guy is stealing the aprons of the flight attendant staff from explicitly women.
Sounds like the
So he's smelling the aprons, and this is this sick man's kind of fetish thing.
Gave it the old sniff test before
It's his hobby. It's his hobby.
He just loves the smell of airplane food. Is that what it is?
You think that's what it probably smells like?
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's true too. First, I don't know that I would make this my headline story in the Gazette. The kind of low-hanging fruit there, but yeah, I think this is true.
But with as much as they've like cracked down, on what you're allowed to do, movement in the cabin, like I would think that this guy, if he gets caught, like there will be an incident, right?
No.
We see videos every week. Like some viral incident, people fighting on planes, people.
Let me tell you,
and if you're stealing aprons, have you ever been back there?
Yeah,
other
have.
than standing in line to use the restroom?
3 weeks ago, I was on a flight. It was very early. Super sleep deprived. I got up to use the restroom. I was completely disoriented. I walked to what I thought was the restroom door, and I started yanking on the handle. And
it was the cabin door.
It was the cockpit.
Oh my gosh!
And no one stopped me.
Yeah, they would have.
And I'm yanking
right
on
there.
the handle, and so yeah, I think people have let their guard down. I think on maybe certain airlines, but. No one tasered or tackled old Cato when he was trying to get into the cockpit.
I would have paid for that video.
Finally, someone said, "No, the restroom's here, you idiot." So.
Okay, all right. So
that was a real headline, right?
It is completely real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said the police guy went to his house and he had tons of these aprons and some nurses' uniforms.
Oh,
yeah. He says it's a hobby though.
Sick in the head.
Yeah.
Not a hobby.
Okay. How about this one? Golden throne grabbed. Arrests are made.
This is Cato on the airline.
Arrests were made in the theft of an 18-carat golden throne. And no, it's not a royal chair, but a toilet.
Yeah.
4 men charged with a theft of this 18-karat gold toilet. True or false?
Well, look, I'm sure that those exist, right? A golden toilet. I mean, think about that. If it's 18 karat, like solid gold. Or just plated. It's got to be plated, right? That would be that. If it was solid gold, that thing would be so heavy.
It'd be hard to. Yeah.
Anyway.
Talk about flushing your money on the toilet.
There we go. I'm gonna say fake. I'm gonna say fake. Because first of all, who's gonna know about it, right? Unless you had, if some like really rich guy, he's got a gold toilet, which is. Obviously ridiculous.
You're saying how could you show this off?
Who's gonna know that you've got a gold toilet?
The whole neighborhood would if I had one.
I mean,
I'd put it on my front porch.
And then if it was your toilet, nobody would touch it. Trust me. Yeah. I'm gonna say no. This can't be a real thing.
I think it's true. I think it's just stupid enough to be true that somebody would have paid for a gold-plated. Is it porcelain beneath? I don't know, but yeah.
Well, but I'm saying someone could have a gold toilet, but that someone else would know about it and then attempt to steal it.
But
that would be like your local, like if you'd call up the plumber, like
okay.
my toilet's
but see, you're
leaking
assuming
again.
This is in someone's house. He's never said where this was.
Where else would you have a gold toilet?
In some kind of museum. In a museum.
In a Buc-ee's? Like where do you have in a museum?
Yeah, like what if this is in a museum somewhere, like odd, some kind of Ripley's, believe it or not. Can you believe somebody had a gold toilet and some unscrupulous janitor comes in one night and yanks the potty out of there?
He had to go that bad.
No,
he's like, let me in.
Okay, he wanted the gold. He's a lusty pirate. I think it's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna say fake.
Cato is dead on it.
I knew it.
It was a piece of artwork. Mm-hmm. It was in this palace, the same palace that Winston Churchill was born in.
Oh, really?
Ironically, yeah. The artwork was titled America, for some reason. Intended as a pointed.
See, now that's offensive.
They think we're a gold-plated toilet.
Yeah. That's offensive as a man that loves this.
But it was fully functioning, so people could pay money to go and have 3 minutes on the throne.
I'm gonna need double that.
Yeah.
So yeah. How about that? That's pretty funny. You want one more? Or a couple more, maybe?
Yeah.
How about a kid-sized car capture? I don't know what An Indiana man is accused of driving a Power Wheels Jeep. You know what those are, right? Those little kids. Yeah. Driving, and he got pulled over because he was driving under the influence. This happened in Indiana. Is this true or false?
Okay. Well, like the picture doesn't correspond, right? Because that's like That's a picture of a tractor.
That's a Power Wheels that's modified.
All right. So this guy, he takes his car, the Power Wheel, and he's driving on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a fake headline, because have you ever seen how fast these things go?
No, not very fast at all. But he did say it's modified. I don't know why. No,
I'm not saying that picture. That's just stock picture.
Oh, you're saying the picture? I thought you said the car is modified. I was he dropped a 350 big block in there. Okay.
Yeah. He put a porcelain seat in. I'm gonna say fake. It's got to be fake. I mean, because these things go slower than people walk. So I don't know why you would actually get a DUI. You get more of like a probably intoxicated in public.
Exactly. Plus, I think a normal dad would just send the kids on the beer run. I mean, who's going to pull a cute kid over, right?
There you go.
But no, I think it's probably true. Even though I wish this was a Florida headline, I think it's true.
Cato, on a roll. It is true.
Really?
Yeah, a cop was just happened driving down the road and almost hit him because he couldn't see the guy, and pulled him over and said, "What are you doing?" And he said he was just out riding around, and sure enough, he was under the influence.
Just riding around.
Yeah. So
sorry, officer, didn't see your lights.
Oh my gosh.
Or anything else.
Well, they must make. Because the one that we had when my kids were little was tiny. There's no adults can't really sit in it.
I guarantee you, this guy was a modern redneck engineer, and he had souped this thing up.
It's a lawnmower with a Jeep. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, how about this one? Rideshare robbery, getaway foiled. Police in Colorado said they caught a burglar red-handed when he was trying to get away from his theft in an Uber. True or false?
Seems extremely reasonable.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure someone's done that.
Right.
You know what? You know what I'm worried about, though? He's just given us 2 true ones. Is he
giving you 3 true ones?
He's giving us 3 true ones.
Yeah. Well, so you're just playing the odds then.
I guess.
You're saying it's got to be fake because...
Yeah, because he needs to give us another fake
one.
Well,
BK's been down on himself lately because he feels like he can't trick us.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense that he would say, I'm not gonna write any headlines. I'm gonna find them, and then go all true.
Yeah, if you're right. That sounds like a BK strategy.
And this seems extremely likely. And if someone has not been caught for doing this, I'm sure it has happened that an Uber rideshare service has been complicit in some type of crime. What was the crime again? It was a robbery?
It was a robbery. He was stealing plumbing tools.
See, that's very specific.
Is that when you're selecting that as your Uber and you can put in pickup instructions? You're like, please hurry and don't worry about the cops?
And these plumbing tools that I'm stealing, I'm unfastening a gold toilet that I need to be able to fit.
Please ignore the gold toilet in my arms when I come to your car. Is that how it goes?
I think it's true.
I'll say false just for fun.
Okay, you're just playing the odds.
Scott, you had me figured out.
There we go.
I'm down on myself. Right. Yeah, there was a burglary in progress, and they saw it on this, surveillance video. And so the owners of the company called in. Cops show up, and they see a car out there waiting. And the guy says, "I'm just an Uber driver. Some guy called me to show up." So the cops waited, and here comes this guy with a backpack full of plumbing tools. And they said,
"How about that?"
Yeah, nabbed him.
But if you are also if you're like complicit in the crime, if you are the getaway driver,
the accomplice,
then the accomplice, that's the word I was looking for. That would be a great alibi.
Oh, it would be.
If you took a job at Uber, and then you could just that's your out.
Ooh,
I don't know this guy. I'm giving ideas. I should.
Wow, that's good.
I'm sure that's been done before too, probably.
Yeah. Well, that was fun, BK. Are we done? Are we out?
We're
of
done.
Headlines?
We're out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of ink. The publisher's out of ink.
Okay.
That was good.
Next time we do this, you need to make some up. Okay.
Okay.
All he did was scour the internet this time.
No.
My personal favorite thing is when it's BK comes up with it.
When it's the true NODPOD Gazette.
Yes. We need more fake news in the show.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do better next time.
You did good, buddy. We'll see you next time.
All right. That was a fun show. We broke it all down. Let's get Joey Chestnut on the show and Bubba Cato as well. Much thanks to our crew. We got Mariah on the jib. We got Sean working the ones and twos. BK back in the booth. Chris, thanks for holding it down with Linda.
Anytime, man. Why don't you take off again next week?
Yeah, there we go. I knew that was coming. All right. Until the next time we're on, there are no off days.
Je suis désolé.
Je suis
désolé.